Good morning or good afternoon, dear participants of the webinar. My clock said that it is 12 o'clock, and that means that we should start the webinar. The webinar, which is devoted to two very important centralized actions of the Erasmus Plus program, actions which are supporting and which are enhancing the international visibility, international dimension of higher education institutions in Europe. My name is Beata Skibińska. I'm a representative of the National Agency of the Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps National Agency. And we have the privilege today to have together with us our colleagues from the executive agency. And we will have possibility to listen to their presentations on the actions which are a topic of our today's webinar. We have organized the agenda in such a way that in the first part, Erasmus Mundus actions will be presented. This will be done by Julia and Theodora, and the colleague Emmanuel will join you for the question and answer, and then we'll have a break. And for the second part, we will invite you for the presentations and discussion on Jean Monnet actions, and we will be supported in the second part with our colleague by our colleague Monica from the executive agency. I think that everyone knows that Erasmus, because we are starting with Erasmus Mundus actions, everyone knows that it is very innovative, very important, very much focused on quality of and excellence in teaching on the joint masters offered to any student in the world willing to join the studies focused on the topic of her or his interest. We will have some novelties in this period, the new perspective of Erasmus Plus program. These novelties are very beneficial for for higher education institutions who are not very experienced in the Erasmus Mundus actions. From the registration to the seminar, we know that majority of participants still don't know whether they will apply in the call or not. Majority have not much experience in the actions. So, in my opinion, the webinar is very needed. So, without any further ado, let's start, and we will start with a presentation of the Erasmus Mundus actions. And I'm passing the floor to Julia and Theodora. And then when we ask participants to state the questions on the chat. We will not answer the questions on the chat, but we will have the live chat, live question and answer, the live chat during which we will answer your questions. If you are not able to cover all questions stated in the chat, we will send answers, but only to the participants of the webinar. And these questions will not be stated and at the web page of our institution. The participation of Polish higher education institutions in Erasmus Mundus joint masters so far is not very impressive, but it's not bad in my opinion. So we would like very much to promote and to enlarge participation of Polish higher education institutions in the Erasmus Mundus actions. So please, colleagues, start the presentation, during which we hope that the participants will be well informed and will be encouraged to apply for the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters or Erasmus Mundus Design Measures. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Julia Versoniene. I'm here with my colleague Teodora Doceva, and you heard as well that our another colleague, Emmanuel Gert, is with us, and maybe he will respond as well to your question during the chat, during the question and answer session. So first of all, thank you very much for National Agency to organizing this event and for the invitation to speak here. So we are working in at EAKEA, European Education and Culture Executive Agency, and we are here to present our Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters and Erasmus Mundus Design Measures. So in the first slide, you can see a little bit of history of Erasmus Mundus. It started back in 2004 with Erasmus Mundus master courses and followed by Erasmus Mundus joint master degrees. And now with the new actions, Erasmus Mundus joint master and Erasmus Mundus design measures. And in the bottom, you can see a little bit of statistics, how many master programs have been financed, how many students worldwide benefited from the generous scholarships, and with the total budget of 1.7 billion euros. Here, this slide is just for you to get familiar with the structure of the new Erasmus Plus program. You can see that Erasmus Mundus action are under Key Action 2. It's a novelty. We moved from Key Action 1, Learning Mobility for Individuals, to Key Action 2, that action supports activities of partnership for cooperation, for innovation, and for the excellence. And here it's more maybe in details what is a Key Action 2, and you can see that Erasmus Mundus action is together with European universities and VET centers for excellence are under Partnership for Excellence, and you can see that the excellence is the cornerstone of our activities. Erasmus Mundus, in the new Erasmus Plus program, you see that there are two independent lots. It's Erasmus Mundus Joint Master from one side. It's like a continuation and improvement of the pre-existing scheme. And another is there is Erasmus Mundus Design Measures that are our novelty. And here is just to clarify that these two lots are totally independent one from each other. So you don't need to apply first to EMDM to then to apply for EMGM. No, of course, Erasmus Mundus Design Measures does not automatically grant you funding or access to implement an Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters. So it's totally two completely independent lots. Yeah. So I would like to present you our novelty, Erasmus Mundus design measures, because it's a very good starting point to getting involved as an institution. And so we really strongly invite you to explore this action and take advantage in this opportunity. So what is rationale behind the Erasmus Mundus design measure lot? Is the filling the gap of the Erasmus Mundus action by supporting the development of the new master programs. And it's, of course, importantly, encouraging the involvement of countries or institutions or thematic areas that are underrepresented so far under Erasmus Mundus program. And you even can look at our catalog to see which thematic areas are underrepresented, to have an idea. So what is an Erasmus Mundus design measure project? So it's a short duration project, and it's a grant to support institutions in setting up a new joint master. It's a mono-beneficiary contract. It's one beneficiary, and he will mobilize a group of other higher education institutions, and with the aim to develop an Erasmus Mundus joint master. And as I said already, it's a totally different independent funding scheme from Erasmus Mundus joint master. What are the expected outcomes? So, of course, is to have a joint program design and joint procedures. It's to have joint student admission, application, selection, evaluation processes, joint administrative and financial management, to have a common services offered to students. And of course, it should at the end it should be produce the draft of joint partnership agreement and student agreement, and in this joint partnership agreement you should involve at least 3 higher education institutions from 3 different countries, and at least 2 of them should be program countries, and this is which is a minimum composition of EMGM. And of course, it should cover all academics, operational, administrative, and financial aspects. And at the end, it should deliver a joint policy and launch accreditation process. And of course, to explore maybe opportunities offered by European approach for quality assurance of joint programs, if the national legislation allows. So what are the joint master programs? So it jointly designed a fully integrated curriculum, common implementation procedures. It's, as I said, it's delivered by consortium of higher education institutions. It should attract and enroll excellent students all over the world, and with compulsory mobility for the students, and in the end by delivering a joint or multiple degrees. So as I said, it's one beneficiary who's mobilizing a group of the higher education institutions, and it's a mono-beneficiary contract it will be. it's with the fixed duration of 15 months, and it's not a coincidence because after the Erasmus Mundus design measure activities is finished, there is a time allowing to prepare and apply for application for proposals for Erasmus Mundus joint masters. But of course, there is no obligation. If you are not ready to apply for Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters, you don't have to. With the lump sum contribution of 55,000 euros. Who can take part in as an organization? It's any higher education institution is established in a program or partner country can submit an application, and as well, the partner country institutions can take lead and be the applicants in a design measure projects. Here, as you know, that the call for proposals, it's already published, but it's not still open for applications, and we hope that it will be open soon. We apologize for this delay, but we think maybe in today, tomorrow, it could be, or this week, it could be already open. And with the deadline of the 26th of May, the budget it's 2 million euros, and we expect to select 36 projects. Here you can see it's just a selection roadmap, just to tell you that all the assessment of the applications will be mainly during the summer period, and the preparation and signature of the grant agreement will be in November and December. And the start of the activities of the Erasmus Mundus design measures, it's with the signature of the contract. And how to apply? So of course you have to go to European Commission Funding and Tender Opportunities portal, and you will see all the requirements, all the documents, the program guide, the calls, and all relevant documents here. And just a little bit about the evaluation procedures. So each application will be assessed by 2 experts, and to be proposed for funding, you must score at least 60 points. And in the case of Execo, priority will be given to the project with the highest score for relevance of the project and for the impact. And here just I will show you 2 slides just for information that Erasmus Mundus design measure applications will be assessed by 4 criteria, and for each criteria you can receive some maximum points. So for example, for the relevance of the project, it's maximum 40 points. For the quality of the project design and implementation, 20 points. And for the quality of the project team and the cooperation arrangement, you can get maximum 20 points. And for the impact is 20 points. And now I will give the floor to my colleague, Teodora Docheva, who will present you Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters. Please.
Thank you, Julia. So as Julia already explained, we have these novelties, but also for the more experienced beneficiaries and people who present here in the webinar, we made some slides to make comparison between what we have at previously EMJMD and now Joint Master Erasmus Mundus, because now in the new program we try to face all the questions and all, let's say, the bottlenecks and everything which was somehow criticized by our previous beneficiaries. That's why in the new what in the new program from the new programming period. It is, and you will see by presenting really that it's more flexible, more simple, more generous in terms of funding, and it's more open. And I will show you why. Just a second. I'm not for the moving the slides. Julia, could you please help? Yeah, thank you. So, in brief, what is now the EMGM? Of course, it's a high-level integrated and transnational study like it used to be in the master level. It's a program to excellence. Julia already showed you that where it's positioned, that really the accent for us is the excellence. It's open to all disciplines. And of course, it's delivered again by a consortium of higher education institutions. The novelty, as she already pointed out, is for the first time we have the possibility of a partner countries to be leading and to be coordinating institution. And offers high level, of course, scholarship to excellent students worldwide. Thank you, Julia. So what are the main objectives? Of course, to support the quality, innovation, excellence, and internationalization of all the institutions through the academic cooperation in this consortium and within the higher educational area and actually beyond, because as you see, the international element and more involved on the partner country universities, the internationalization of your universities will come not per se. So increase quality, attractiveness, of course, and support to external action in higher education. And also the purpose, of course, is to increase synergies between the higher education institutions, because being in one consortium and partnership, this is the major role. And we have one jargon we use, jointness, which is really important. And we really look forward that the programs are created and all the curriculum, everything is conducted, selections in a joint manner. And of course, to respond to the social and labor market needs. So they have to be really attractive and to be up to date and to the to represent what is really looked on the market. So next one, yes. So now, as it's a new program, of course, we wanted to change and to be a little bit more modern and up to date. That's why, first of all, you saw that already we have not only one, but we have two votes. Julia presented you the design measures, which are these small, let's say, like a preparatory action. Of course, with the condition, we say that it's not a prerequisite that you apply for joint master, but it will really help you. This is very important to know, that this will really help you if you want to go and build on any kind of type of these actions. That the design measure is the excellent start for the beginners. So now, and you're going to see later on, we put the accent on the enrolled students. Previously, we were counting only our scholarship holders, and then when you have to report back to us, we were looking only on that. Now, we will count all, because there will be incentive for also enrolling non-scholarship holders. Now, also a novelty is that we replace intakes with the editions. Of course, the ECTS remains as objective, and then depends from your master course. It could be, of course, 60, 90, or 120 ECTS. In terms of funding, we used to have this, our, again, commission jargons of what is called the commission budget heading 1. And then was now it's transferred to heading 2, and heading 4 is heading 6. This is the external action, and then later on you'll see that there is a special scholarships funded by this external action. So what are the requirements? Of course, it's as you say, again, I'm putting the accent, a jointly designed, fully integrated curriculum and common implementation procedures. And then I saw also the chats that you're very much aware, and that we follow the standards for the quality assurance of the joint programs. Also, to be delivered of consortium of at least 3 higher education institutions, and then the novelty, it is at least, so that at least 2 should be from the program countries, and then the other one from partner. But as I said, in this new program, then it could be that the leading university is from a partner country. So of course there is international outreach to attract more excellent students worldwide, but compared to the EMGMD, you could see later on, we don't have these ceilings at 25, 75, so we have the possibility to attract more European students, which is an excellent news for all. Julia, thank you. So yes, we have the new element is that, of course, we had previously you have of course two obligatory mobilities, but now we soften a little bit the rules. So we have again two compulsory study periods in two countries. Minimum one of them should be in the program country, and then for 2 semesters. So it means that in the other two should be eventually could address to have not maybe virtual mobility or some other style, but I mean the obligation stays now for less, so only for these 2 study periods. And then as also we were a little bit criticized that we were very demanding about all the requirements about the scholars and how many weeks and so on, and number of scholars and guest lectures. Now we have contribution for that, but there is no such a requirements, which is also a very good news, because sometimes it was very demanding to find all the best scholars for these weeks we wanted. And of course, the ultimate objective is to deliver a joint degree or multiple degree. And then, of course, if joint degree, if the national legislation allows it. It's maybe, sorry, can you just go back? So just to say that at application stage, all EMGM's proposals must present a fully developed joint study program. So when you apply, you have to already have fully developed joint study program ready to run. And of course, later on to be advertised via your website and so on. So this is a recap. So in general, this is a continuity, of course, on our so popular EMGMD. And the joint concept is there. We put emphasis, as I said, on all enrolled students, and then there will be special slides explaining why. And then, of course, there is a more opportunities for partner countries' institutions, because previously they could not be coordinators. And for me, the best thing is that there is a simplification of the rules for scholars. And yes, next slide we could see. So how to set up and how to organize your EMGM. So first of all, the grant agreement will be for 6 years, independently how long is your, because in the previous program, of course, if you have 60 or 90 CTS, it was a shorter period. Now, during these 6 years, you have the possibility to organize as many intakes, and there will be special slides showing this. Of course, there is a commitment from your side to enroll a certain number of students per project, and there is a financial incentive for that. The minimum is at least to organize 4 master editions, lasting 1 or 2 years for this period of 6 academic years. You have to start your first edition no later than the academic year following the year of the project selection. So because sometimes some of the consortiums have preparatory activities in order to start, but you have to respect also this. Previously, we had some requirements of having not more than 3 students per country, per nationality. Now we are more flexible, and it's overall 10% of the total scholarships per project to be awarded from the same nationality. Of course, this does not apply for the special scholarship for targeted regions. Yes, and here you could see in this slide that if you start eventually in the 2021, and then you have possibility to have even 6 editions if every year you start anew. If you have preparatory activities, but this is for the masters of the 60 CTS, of course. And then if you have a standard, most of the masters at 2 years, 120 CTS, you'll be able eventually to organize 5 editions or 4, depending if you want to have also your preparatory activities. Yes, and again to recap, so more flexibility for the EMG consortium will be provided because of this preparatory activities. So before it was 1 year, now it could be a shorter period. There will be also sustainability after the EU funding, and this will come because some of the experience beneficiaries know that we had a lot of discussions and a lot of requirements to have a continuation of the Erasmus name. Now we're in negotiations to provide the legal framework for that, and then there will be possibility to have free intakes after the funding. Simplified rule for geographical bubbles, I just mentioned them in the previous slide. Julia already explained this as who could take part as organization for the design measure. It is the same for the EMGMs. Of course, here it's a multi-beneficiary grant agreement, so it's not mono like in the design measures. So everybody, so all the higher education institutions from program and partner countries are eligible to apply. Of course, for the partner, for the program countries, they have to have a valid chart Akcje. And then for the partner countries, of course, they have to commit to this principle of Akcje in the partnership agreement, because as they are not part of the European education area, they don't have this charter, but of course they have to commit to respect these principles. And it's important that they have to complete accreditation of the master program. So the other requirements is, as we already mentioned, minimum 3 higher education institutions from 3 different countries, and we already said this, that 2 of them should be from program country. Of course, in our consortiums, you have you could also invite, and this is, I think, it's very useful because industry partners, others, non-academic partners, associated partners could be part of your network, and I think this is very important message to deliver, that it's very the success of one master is also the way you organize your partnership and how much, because some of the academic associate partners could be really helping you in the promotion activities a lot, or even the selection. So here it's a slide that you could eventually use as arguments when you do start doing your networks, who and why, and what are the opportunities for the higher education institutions, and if you question yourself, what is the advantages? Of course, it's this is a high visibility in a very known international program of excellence. It's this academic cooperation worldwide, because some consortiums really they have, I mean, some are very ambitious consortium, even they have from all the continents a partner. I have such a project. Of course, it's attractive, simplified EU funding scheme, and then you see now there's a slides with comparison with the previous program, giving you the simplification mode. And of course, you have the opportunity to select the most talented students worldwide, which is a very important element. Now, we have prepared a little bit of homework with some fact sheets about Poem as taking part as an organization. So you could see that in the slide, the EMGMDs previously selected involving Poland were 56. And then out of them, 39 were full partners from Poland. So there is still room for improvement, and I hope our webinar will help you really and stimulate you to apply, because I think our program is excellent, gives a lot of opportunities. And then I hope next time, next webinar, you are among the top 15 countries in the statistic. So in the next slide, who could take part as individual? Of course, as we said, it's open to all students worldwide. You know, the partner country students includes all, but also we have the geographical targeted windows that have specific regions. Of course, the requirement is that the applicant has to be had a previous degree, education, or equivalent. because now in the program that compared to the EMGMDs, now eventually we also look very much on the recognition of the degrees, and then eventually they could be students that could be accepted first year of study. They could continue if there's a 2 years master. So there's also such a possibility in the EMGM. Of course, the best one benefit as for the scholarship because of based on your selection, the best ranking could be taking part in your master. So it means this filters really the best students. And then, of course, they apply directly to you. Here is the link to our famous EMGMD catalog. And just to say that this is one of the best promotion tools for you, because most of the students, when you type in Google scholarship opportunities, it comes the catalog, and then sometimes when you go on monitoring missions, we ask, and then most of them they know that they looked for the program in the catalog. So it's a powerful tool of promotion. So for the students, if maybe you could use it maybe for your future websites, why to apply and what is the let's say the added value and the opportunities. It's a high degree of expertise with specialization component, because your masters are first of all selected among all, so we also filter you. So it is the best ones. Of course, it's a unique mobility experience, and then finalizing with a joint or multiple degree. So it's not a standard master having to start in one university, finalizing there, but at least in 2 or 3 universities, which is for the student an excellent opportunity. With attractive EU scholarship for the best selected students, and then also indeed with a high employability rate, because really we have in our reporting for the EMGMDs statistics that most of the students find excellent jobs after the graduations, which is not neglectable element. And now, Julia. Yes, thank you. So here again, we put a little bit of statistic to show you where the Polish student actually stay compared to the other students, and then up to the period of the funding, which is for 2014-20 of the previous programming period, 18 Polish students took part in our program. And I really hope also that when you promote now EMGM for the universities and to create the EMGMs, you also promote for your Polish students that this now gives more opportunity for the Europeans. And this is a little bit a summarizing slide. So the EMGM is one simplified grant who targets, of course, the higher educational institutions and then the students. We simplified our cost, and you see our allowances were previously with a lot of sub groups, and now we have institutional costs, and then we have scholarships for students. And we are very proud that finally, after we had in our previous generation these individual needs, which are special needs for students with medical needs, that finally we have a financial incentive in the new program, and this gives us even to be more inclusive as a program, because its individual needs scholarships will be provided if it's requested. And here in this slide really shows the difference in the simplification. You could see in the orange part, of course, some of you already know very well that we had, apart from the program and partner country students categories, we had also a distance band, and then the scholarship dependent for the travel depends from the how distant was the place of origin of the student. Also, we had participation, travel is subsistence participation, and the management ones, and so on. You could see on now in the blue part that, first of all, in terms of funding, you see that if you see the summary of the total, of course, in the partner country previously scholarships were higher due to the travel. Compared to the program country, and now you could see that it's one single amount for the for 1,400 euro per month for all students, which it's very generous and I think excellent news. Also, now of course the non-scholarship holder are not receiving a scholarship part, it's obvious, but they'll be part of the you'll see later in the counting and in the funding. And in the institutional part will be counted at 750 euro per month. But later on you'll see a more detailed explanation about it. And then you see that for the special needs we have there is a 10 different categories from 3,000 to 60,000, and then the consortium, when they apply, they have the possibility to request twice the maximum of 60,000. But later on this is shown. So concerning the institutional cost, as I have explained previously, we had this management, participation, and so on. Now everything is grouped in one unit cost. So the unit cost is counted of 750 euro per month. And then in order to calculate, you have to take to account, for instance, if you have 24 months master and number of the enrolled students. Of course, as I saw some questions in the chat, there could not be endless funding depending if you stimulate non-scholarship holders also to engage, but there is a certain cap of 100 enrolled students per consortium. And then when you calculate, this is the maximum possible to be given for the 2 years masters. So later on, there will be more explanation about that. Now, this is just a slide to show you how more attractive the new program is compared to the old one, because previously you could see from the very start that if you don't, as we didn't fund the non-scholarship holders, of course, the GMD for 40 scholarships was more attractive than the new scheme. But later on, you could see that for the and this is the component of the 60 for the 100 cap contains 60 scholarships holders and 40 non-scholarship holders. And you could see that this cap, it's clear that for the next pillars, you could see even the 60 scholarships and 50 non-scholarships is the same amount, meaning that we have put this cap of 100. So at the student level, as we say, it's a full scholarship to cover subsistence, installation, and travel, and plus fee waiver, and then it's a one single amount. We don't have to make this complicated calculation to see distance bands and so on and so on. Of course, it's a minimum one academic year. The maximum amount per student is 33,600 euros. If you calculate, it's 24 months, and then per the scholarship of 1,400. So again, here, as I already explained in the previous slide, but here it's visible that the cap of the scholarships for the what we call it heading 2, it is 60 students. Later on, you'll see that there will be for the targeted regions. Here again, it's more visual to see that, of course, the previous maximum amounts reached with all the, let's say, the partner country from the longest distance was less than now for all the students. So now it's on equal footing, program and partner, and they'll receive more than previously in the previous scheme. So the additional funds, what I have just explained. Now we have two new instruments, which call it IPA Free and DIKI, which combine funds from the external sources. And then for contribution for the additional funding. So on the top of this 60, you're going to have possibility to have 24 scholarships for what we call it these targeted regions. And then, of course, the targeted regions will be clarified in the program grant, and for you, it will be known who are the countries. When you apply, you will be aware of how to position your students based on that. And of course, the maximum of 24 scholarships turns in amounts of 1.2 million euro, roughly. Now, it's what I have explained for the individual needs. So we call it special needs. It's, as I said, it's a 10 different unit costs varying from 3,000 to 60,000. And then I don't know if some of you had more experience in the past, but of course you have to present some documents and some proofs for the medicals and so on. So to be approved these costs. And then if these costs are below 3,000, should be covered by the institution. So the cost we cover is on the threshold of above 3,000. And as I have already explained, that you could request already this twice the maximum of the this 60,000, which amounts to 120,000, to be added as a special needs. And the flexibility at the end of your project, if for the period of 6 years at nearby the project closure, you cannot I mean, you have spare amounts, you could eventually transfer this amount in additional scholarships at the end of your projects. Again, here is a more visual that you could see that now on the top up presenting all possible scholarships. So you could see that 60 scholarships, which are from the heading 2 with the 24 heading 6 scholarships, plus the 40 non-scholarship holders for which you're going to receive funding for the 750. And then also there will be funding from the heading 6 for that and for heading 2. So you see that the WASP pillar with the green and blue is representing the highest amount in terms of funding compared to the previous scheme. And now a little bit of recap and comparison between the EMGMDs and the EMGM. So as I already explained, it's a simplification of the funding mechanism, only 3 types of unit costs. Everything you don't need now to measure all these distance band and to see if it's less or more and so on. Simplified management mechanism, not management and participation cost, but you have this 750 in a unit cost which you could use. And then of course it's an incentive for your sustainability, because by funding you 40 non-scholarship holders, and then you have this amount to be more and more sustainable. As I already mentioned, it's the same, no, it's fine. It's the same scholarship from program and partner countries. So it's a really good incentive for your Polish students that you promote to them that also the new program apart from the consortiums. And then as Julia already gave the timeline for the call, yes, indeed, it was published on 20. Indeed, there was some, I saw the question for the application form. We really hope that these coming days, they will be already available. The deadline at the moment is 26th of May. Here, of course, the budget is higher because it's a more compared to the design measure. It's a 98 million from the first for the heading 2 and 24 from the heading 6. And for this year, we plan to fund 25 projects. And I think also there's a slide about just to see the roadmap that we plan to. We will be really busy during this period from now on up to year end, because of the very shrinked time due to the delay of the legal documents and all these delays, but and the launch of the new program. But we are very optimistic that I think we will be running smoothly. Even that we put more efforts, it's worth the efforts. And again, also for me, there will be some slides showing you the evaluation, but here is compared to DM is more complicated, of course, because the action, it's per se it's more complicated than a design measure. So we have 3 experts which assess each proposal in one-step evaluation procedure. Here the threshold is 22 from 30 from the relevance, and here it's 70 points overall. In the case of Execo, the relevance of the projects prevails. And again, the points are different a little bit, but the same criteria. So relevance of the project gives 30 points, quality of the project gives 30 points, and then for the design implementation, then we have quality of the team 20 and impact 20. So those are the criteria that it will be to our award criteria. And then, of course, as Julia already mentioned, everything is in the funding and tender opportunities portal mentioned. And here we give you also the link to the program guide to if you want to be more and more aware about our rules with more details. And I think we also provide you, yes, exactly, some other documents which could help you for prepare better your application. And this is end of our session. Thank you very much. And I think now for the question and answer session, I also invite Julia to switch her mic and then to see if I understood yesterday well from our organizers, they're going to read the questions because and then we will try to reply in the time allocated for us for these 30 minutes. But I think we were fast enough to have even a little bit more time for more questions. So we open the floor, and I think it's the organizers.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, the questions will be stated on the screen. Yes, and we will ask you to answer the questions. Thank you for the presentations, very informative, a lot of information, and I know that some people can be shocked with the quantity of the information, and especially when you compare the previous programming period with the new one. But please believe us that the present Erasmus Mundus actions and especially design measures are very beneficial for higher education institutions which are not very familiar with the action and have no experience. Before we will show you the first question, I would like to stress and underline very strongly that for Polish higher education institutions, the projects which will be worth to join in are projects with at least 90 ECTS credits, because according to the Polish law of higher education, we have no masters of 60 ECTS. So please, I'm sure that everyone knows at Polish universities that there are such legal conditions, legal backgrounds. But please don't enter, don't join to the consortia which are going to submit and to deliver later on 60 ECTS masters. In Poland, it is not eligible. And another very question which was asked frequently was whether the presentation will be available to the participants. Yes, the presentation will be available. So you can go later on slide by slide, remembering what has been said during the presentations. And now we will go through the questions stated on the chat.
Maybe just one comment. I hear the echo, sorry. So that when applying, so you have to see all the documents like program guide or the call to have more details, and because in the presentation it's a broad view, but in these documents there are more specific information that you have, and you have to base on these documents while applying.
This is to give you the idea, indeed, to give you the idea of the major changes also, but also the simplification, and then to encourage all the Polish universities to apply, to see that it is actually, if they didn't manage to succeed in the previous scheme, now they have even more incentive and more opportunities to do so. So this was the idea also the presentation, to present you the program, but indeed, as Julia rightly said, that all the requirements are in the documents. Polish, so shall we read how we proceed? We read, for instance, the question.
I will read the question, and we will try to answer if we know how to answer.
Yes.
And my remark to what was just said by Julia and Teodora is that the starting point for each international multilateral project, and such projects are Erasmus Mundus masters or design measures, is to read very carefully everything which is presented in the program guide together with your partners, and to try to understand whether you understand with your partners everything which is stated in the program rules in the same way, in the same manner. We have a lot of experience that terminology, that understanding, joint common understanding of what is stated in the program documents is very important as a start for the joint common work.
Yes.
And this question is related to the accreditation of the program. I will read the question. Polish Accreditation Committee has been successfully evaluated and is a full member of the European Quality Assurance Register. If the study program is certified by a Polish Accreditation Committee, it means that it is automatically certified by the European Quality Assurance Register for Higher Education. Yes, to the best of my knowledge. And conversely, if the study program is certified by the European Register, it means that it is certified by the Polish Accreditation Committee.
If
it should be the case. Should be the case because it is reciprocity in the decisions taken by the accreditation committees certified by the European Quality Assurance Register. But for the accreditation of the joint masters, you have to remember that it is not very common that joint masters have accreditation, but what is required by the program rules is to have accreditation for the master on which the joint master program is based. Is that right, Theodora and
on
Julia?
the national? Yes, I think you are best positioned actually to reply for the question of accreditation, because actually during the selection, of course, we check the accreditation and so on, but I mean, always we come back to the national agencies for verifying this. So I think in this a little bit question more about for you than for us in this sense, but indeed what
yes, but my question was that the accreditation should have the program on which the joint master is based.
Yes,
the national level. Yeah. Accredited on the national.
Next question. When can we expect the opening of the application form? That the question has been answered. That soon. You cannot say whether it
any
will
moment
tomorrow,
we expect
any moment
tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but it will come soon. And before the form will be available, our recommendation to you is to read together with your partners rules which are presented in the program guide.
Yeah, program guide is available. You can check it. Yes.
Next question.
For the deadlines, for the moment, this is the date fixed.
Is the application deadline 26th of May? There is no open call yet. It's a misunderstanding.
No, it's not misunderstanding. I understand the question. The point is that it's a decision from the management in hierarchy. We have to see when, first of all, the application will be available, and if any change occurs, it will be published on this funding and tender opportunities portal, so it will be known.
Yes.
But at this stage, we can't say. We don't know. But if any change occurs, it will be published in due time, and then I'm sure the national agencies will be informed and so on.
But we can assume that potential applicants or partners for the joint masters or joint or design measures can rely on what is written in the program guide.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
The rules
yes.
of the program, guys.
Yes.
But I think the question was that the time,
About
the time is
about-
short to
yes.
prepare indeed, but this is our first start. Indeed, it's a particular circumstances we faced due to the delay of the legal base, as we have new programming period. I think in every start it's a little bit, but I'm sure that it will be addressed.
Yeah. And another recommendation, if you consider that it is too short time to prepare the application, please remember that we will have the call for proposals next year and for the remaining 6 years in this programming period, because it is true that the action is very demanding, very the competition is high, very competitive, and it's the application should be well prepared. And so if you feel that you are not ready to this year, you have still 6 other call for proposals.
But also to give you a hint, as we explained it, have in mind that they are 2 separate votes, so they independent selections. So one organization or let's say consortium may opt to apply for the 2. It's not, I mean, if they are not ready, if they consider not furnished enough, they're not ready for the real EMGM, they could go for the design measure, or they could just try the 2 and to see by lesson learned, meaning to give a try and to see eventually with the comments and feedback, which will be also very valuable. So I think I will not discourage people to not apply, on contrary. And then, of course, we are realizing that the period is short, but also we also in a shorter period for us to prepare all the other elements.
Yes.
Okay, so we are not discouraging you. We are encouraging you to try.
Exactly. Especially for the design measure, I think it's excellent opportunity for a good start.
Yes.
Okay, next question. How many projects are you planning or selecting for? It was
also already set in the.
So for design measures, it's 36 projects, and for the joint masters, it's around 25.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we are planning on having 140 graduates over 4 intakes, do we apply for the maximum contribution to the institutional costs? Can the additional 40 students be charged tuition fees?
Let's rephrase a little bit because it's not so clear. If we are planning of having, so as we have explained, now from the funding scheme, we have 60 scholarship holders from the heading 2, and then 40 non-scholarship. So this is 100. And then on the top of them, you have this from the heading 6, 24. So above all those, you could have 200 students, but I'm saying what we fund and what will be. And I think the slide was very well visualized, saying that if you have more and more non-scholarship holders, still the same amount will be given for these 40 non-scholarship. So can the additional 40 students be charged tuition fees? I mean, they are non-scholarship holders. So they could be charged tuition fees, but you're going to receive for them already funding in terms of institutional costs.
So the answer is positive. For additional students who will be not covered by the scholarships, but the grant, tuition fees can be charged.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that previously there was an explanation that these tuition fees could be compatible with the fees included in the grant in the contribution to the students who will be covered by the grant. But I'm not sure whether this requirement is still valid.
So, for instance, you have some institutions that they apply fee waivers, but it's another incentive. Depends. So, for instance, as we already provide, let's say, for this 40 institutional, let's say, contribution. I mean, it's up to the consortium to judge, but we just reply to the question that it's possible, apart from the fact that the consortium could decide to act differently.
Okay, thank you.
To stimulate, let's say, more non-scope stewardship holders to apply, because of course they have funding up to 40, but as the person Radoslav already put, they plan 140, let's say.
Okay, thank you. Another question. Well, what do you mean?
The master has to be ready to go by the time it is financed.
Well, I suppose that the applicants, potential applicants, have to be aware that there is no time in Erasmus Mundus actions for all this preparatory work to establish a program, the joint program. If you are in the situation that you don't have partners, you are looking for a possibility to create a joint master from the scratch. Remember that you have a partnership, these cooperation projects. That's cooperation partnerships within the Action 2, and you can start working on the joint masters using another action of the Erasmus Plus program. But for in the Erasmus Mundus actions, you have to be ready to start the program. So every
operational. Meaning that from the moment when you apply and if you are selected, that your master could run and to have all the necessary means to be operational and to implement the project as of the start. This was the point.
Yeah. Will the design master study take place in semester in a different country? I mean, for example, first semester in Poland, second in Hungary, third in Georgia, and fourth in Czech Republic.
It's up to the consortium to decide. Yes,
it's what we have said in the requirement is also that we have these 2 semesters which are obligatory, and then they have to decide if they, because also I mean for first time the virtual training is allowed after this obligatory 2 semesters. So it's also depending now we are living with these times of pandemic, so it's more flexibility applying to the masters. But indeed, if they have so many partners, and then if they think that it makes sense to organize such a mobility path for the student, why not?
Yeah.
So we could say that everything is possible which meets minimum requirements. Something which is in addition to this minimum requirements depends on the consortium, depends very much on what you are going to achieve with this joint master.
Yes.
Could the designed master studies include partnerships as part of the curriculum? We are thinking of joint tourism studies, and internships are really important part of those studies.
Of course, yes. Internships are very valuable thing for students, and it should be,
Normally it happened in the 4th semester, if it's the 2 years master, that a lot of masters organize an internship. Sometimes they organize themselves, sometimes they are opening to the students to search for opportunities, but indeed, of course, it makes logical sense to include this in the curriculum. And even I think it's not a must, but it will be for a modern master something which is the practical aspect of it.
Okay, thank you. Another question, who must apply? Future coordinator on his European account or the higher education institution which will be the coordinating the program on the institutional European account? I don't know whether I understand the question.
Yes, we tried also to paraphrase it a little bit. So we already explained who could apply, meaning that will be the higher education institution. So the coordinator, as he said, the coordinating institution. It could be as sorry to say. So it could be partner or could be program higher education institution. So it's open, but it should be just, of course, higher education institution, of course, for the program countries accredited and H and so on. But I mean, institutional will be on the coordinating of the which will be the institution. If the Bogdan wants to clarify a little bit in the chat, if this answer satisfies him or not.
And in our website, there will be as well the PowerPoint presentation on the specificities, how to fill in all the documents in this while you applying. So it will be like a small guide, and I think we will send this presentation to all national agencies, so you could then distribute to everybody, if I understand correctly, what to fill in, how to fill in, yeah, while applying.
But the general rule is that when any consortium is applying for the funding, before the application is filled in, the consortium has to decide who is the leader, who is coordinator,
yes.
who on behalf of the whole partnerships or the whole consortium applies for funding. Yeah. Do we have only one chance to apply? No. I mean,
you're not blacklisted. Don't worry. No, actually no. But also I wanted to say that for first time we will use a new program, e-grants, so new system in which we're going to contract all those projects. So there'll be so the applicants, the applicants after the ones who actually will be selected, they have to put a lot of data for their roles of the legal representative, lawyers. So it will be very clear at the stage, but also for the application forms, when you apply, it will be clear who to apply. I mean, you can't miss it. I mean, it will be mentioning the coordinating institute. I mean, you have to answer the question, so it will guide you the application form. So don't worry, you won't be lost.
Okay, thank you. And we suppose that it is the last question in this question answered slot. It is possible to change a program. You mean the program, the study program?
The master, if it's concerning the master, yes, you could actually, even in the design measure, Julia already very well explained that we are looking for even new, more interesting and so on masters that they propose and they develop in this design measure. And then, of course, if you have already some master program running on a national level, you might want to, when you cooperate with other universities, to, let's say, upgrade it and to prepare a joint curriculum for the international master, meaning that for these mobilities and so on. So yes, it is possible to change the program prior to your application. And then if you already are our beneficiary, it's not so flexible, because already you present a proposal, you are evaluated on this proposal, so you are awarded a grant based on your proposal. So then once you are granted, it's more rigid, but beforehand, yes, you are flexible enough.
Okay, thank you. It is very important what you underlined, Teodoro, that if the program is the project is granted, the consortium should implement it as it was accepted. Of course, there are possible changes.
The curriculum,
but these changes cannot be very serious and very major because it will be not the same program for which the grant was awarded. Yeah,
indeed.
So you should be very careful. But in general, changes are possible if justified, and if explained to the executive agency.
Of course, but also to complement it, as I said, that prior to the application, they could also change their master into when they make a consortium with other partners. Everybody could add their element and to prepare this joint program in a way that it's new compared to what they have on a national level, for instance.
Okay, we have reached the end of this session. Let me say a big thank you, Theodora and Julia, for your contribution. We do hope that Erasmus Mundus actions are now closer to Polish potential applicants, and that we will have these potential applicants really applying for together, of course, with the partners, with the partnerships for the masters or for the designed measures, and we will hope to have contacts with you, Theodora and Julia, for clarification if we will need them. And of course, and I suppose that we will need your support when some questions will come from the Polish potential applicants. And of course, you are the main address to send the questions, because this is the centralized actions.
Yes.
But sometimes we, national agencies, need your support as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That will give us the opportunity to promote our program, because it's also from us to thank you. And then we hope next time we see each other, the statistic will be quite different in your advantage.
Yes, let's go. And now the information for the participants, we will have the break till, as it is planned, till 1:30. Sorry, the break is till 2 o'clock, yeah? Yes. And on 2 o'clock, we will start again with Jean Monnet. Thank you, and see you.
I wish you good luck to everybody.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.